You're listening to the Hope Not Nope podcast
with Doc Dylan
and Brandy.
We empower high performers with a 3-part strategy of hope,
Self-agency, goals, and proven frameworks,
so that you can reach your potential
and the highest quality of life. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Hope Not Nope podcast. We have a question from Nate. Nate says, I've seen ads for the HeadShock sleep device claiming it improves recovery and sleep quality. Is there real science behind it, or is it just another wellness gimmick?
I love this question. It makes me think back to in PT school, we were learning different type of stimulation, but transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation. And you're taught in there to not put the electrodes on your head and turn the device on, to which you're like, okay, don't do that. But part of you wants to put it on your head and see how high you can turn it up with your buddies and see. So it makes me think of that, of like, wow, they're actually doing it now. But it's a little bit different. It's not transcutaneous, it's transcranial. So I guess there's a little bit of a difference there. But to his question, is there science behind this? And how exciting it would be if there was.
Yeah.
That with all the different types of sleep disorders, that we could put on this headband that stimulates the brain, or sometimes they put it on the earlobe, and it allows you to sleep better and you get better sleep quality. And I love the quote that the bridge between despair and hope is a good night's sleep. And it's like, wow, there's our hope, that we can put on stimulation and boom, we're there. But not so fast.
Yeah, not so fast.
Not so fast. So the science, to cut to the chase of it, the science shows that subjectively the perception of sleep improves when people have used it. That science has not shown objectively that it actually has changed sleep parameters, such as time in deep sleep, sleep waves, the different stages that you go in. So there's this mismatch between what's happening subjectively, but then objectively what's happening. So where we're at now is that marketing is running with the subjective part. Of it, that this helps. It's shown in research. And we can't discount that. It is. When people have filled out a sleep questionnaire using these devices, it is subjectively shown that they perceive that their sleep to be better, which we can't just sweep that under the carpet and not discuss it. But from a science standpoint, we have to look and say, although it felt that way, have sleep qualities truly changed from it? And right now, the research is very mixed and very debated. And the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, I think that's the full name of it, has stated that this shouldn't be looked at as a cure or a solution. Other things still need to be taken care of, whether it's cognitive behavioral therapy or other things, that this is not the answer to it. And then taking a step back from it, let's dive into the subjectivity of this feeling better, right? Like that's important. Like it feels better. So why would I not do it if I'm not actually getting better sleep quality? If I perceive that I am, isn't that something to be of benefit? And the answer is yes. But then we ask the question of, is it truly from that device, or are there other confounding factors that are influencing that? And I think what ends up happening is that when people use these off-the-shelf sleep stimulating devices, headband or earlobe ones, it breaks the routine. It's a habit. It's a pattern interrupter, right? We've talked before about conditioning. And if you're wondering what conditioning is, you can either visit Pavlov's dogs or you can watch The Office. And there's an episode in which I think Jim makes a noise and then feeds Dwight an Altoid.
Yeah.
And he conditions them to that pattern. So there's a stimulus and then there's a rewarded behavior to that stimulus. And you end up just having this behavior happening because of that stimulus in the environment. And if you don't pay attention, after a while, you become conditioned to it, where it happens and it just goes. So that ends up happening with us at nighttime of we forget how beneficial a nighttime routine is of unwinding a little bit. So our conditioning looks a little bit like this. Dinner's taken care of, food's put away. If you have children, kids are put to bed, work's done for the day. So my next conditioned response is I go on my phone and I start scrolling for however long. And you're getting dopamine rushes. You're getting everything that's not allowing you to get sleepy, to go get quality sleep. Well, now we insert this sleep device. Now the pattern's interrupted, right? Now the routine becomes, oh, instead of scrolling, I put on that head device. And when I have the head device on, maybe I'm not scrolling anymore, or maybe I'm not doing something else. Maybe I'm sitting down because I have this thing that's electrically giving stimulation to my brain that I'm not moving around and doing stuff. Also, maybe I'm not thinking as much because I'm focused on the sensation that's coming from this device, right? So we look at that and we go, okay, is it the actual device and is it changing the electrical current within the brain? And research right now is looking at the difference between alternating current and direct current. And there's some hypothesis that alternating current is more in line with the natural brain waves. So that might help sleep quantity, like it might help people sleep longer versus direct stimulation, which is a different style or different waveform, in which that is hypothesized to help you get to sleep sooner. Not necessarily longer, but sooner. So now they're looking at different types of stimulation and all this. And again, it's different because it's transcranial, but we've been here before with transcutaneous. Like we've looked at alternating current, we've looked at direct current, and yeah, they do some different things physiologically. But again, what is it that we're actually after that matters? So yeah, the sleep device subjectively can help you feel like you've slept better. From a sleep quality standpoint, objectively, it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. The ones that do seem to be more sham based or placebo based. And more research is being done on it because of one, the excitement of like, if there is something there, like awesome. Now there is some research with different type of stimulation, whether it's electrical or magnetic for things like depression, PTSD, uh, blanking on the other one, but with things like sleep apnea or just like disrupted sleep, like yeah, not so much. So I think that's where it stands right now.
Yeah, I have a question and I'm not sure for our long-term listeners, y'all know that I'm not the most like science-minded person. For our new listeners, now you know as well. But what kept coming up as you were sharing what you know about this new sleep device and all of that, when you said subjective, for whatever reason, my brain went to the milkshake study.
Mm.
And I don't know if these are like incorrect dots that I'm trying to connect in my head, but
Mhm.
essentially the milkshake study is a group of people. They all got the same milkshake, but one was told that it was like a nutrition shake and one was told that it was a fatty milkshake and
Mhm.
that um their perception created this different like response internally, correct?
Right.
That's not the brain. I mean, the perception's connected to the brain, but that wasn't necessarily like only the brain and it wasn't sleep related, but it was like their subjective opinion,
Mhm.
right? Of like what they thought they were consuming.
Yeah.
Could those be connected at all? Like, if I think that I got good sleep,
Mhm.
did I get good sleep? Or am I just telling myself I got good sleep?
Yeah, that is a phenomenal question. As you like said the milkshake study, I was like, man, I know where this is going, and I think it's a dense conversation because starting from the basics of the milkshake study, of they looked at ghrelin,
Mm.
right, the hormone, and they found there was a physiological difference in ghrelin release depending on the perception of the milkshake that they had. So there was a physiological change that happened because of the perception. But meanwhile, so far in these sleep-based studies, the perception of getting better sleep didn't physiologically show changes on what we view as the gold standard of sleep studies,
Mm.
which can be brought to light too of like, well, maybe the gold standard of sleep studies isn't the best,
Yeah.
but it's what we have, and I think it's improved a lot. But a lot of times you're going in to do a sleep study, you're connected to all these different electrodes, sleeping in a new environment.
I
Like
can't
it's
imagine that's
not
a
that
nice time of sleep.
great. And then even if you're doing it at home, you're still going to sleep with something out, like a new thing in the environment
Mm.
that you're not getting a characteristically great night's sleep
Yeah.
comparatively to not having being connected to these different things. So
Yeah.
so I think there are some things with that, but it's so far still the gold standard and what's been validated in it. So it is interesting in one sense, perception changed the physiological variable that was being measured, but in this other instance, it didn't.
Yeah. Well, I also think of like there's been times where I've woken up and I've wanted to go like, "Oh, I'm so tired." Or I'll be like, "I'm not tired," and then I'll wink at you because I like am trying to convince myself that I'm not tired even if I am tired because I don't want my body the rest of the day and my brain like the first thing they hear is I'm tired and then it's like I'm sluggish the rest of the day. And I know that like we're much more complex than that, but at the same time there is like a simplicity to it. And so I was curious if
Yeah.
how perception like did impact
Well,
it.
I wonder too how much it's self-agency,
Mm,
right? Like you are doing something with the perception that is going to improve the quality
hmm.
of this thing. So then the expectation creates the reality of, yeah, this did
Yeah,
improve that.
did the researchers tell them this is going to help you? Because if
Right.
they said this is not going to help you, we want to see how bad it creates your sleep.
Right.
Would that have had a negative,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And then it gets
effect?
into the study design too, like not to go too far into the science, but how do you create a placebo electrical system?
Hmm. Yeah.
You know, are you educating the person in the study that, hey, this thing's going to be creating electrical waves? You're not going to feel it, but it's happening. Versus like, hey, yeah, you're going to feel a slight buzzing sensation and how that changes it. Like we see it in research on medicine and that the perception that the nastier medicine tastes, the more effective it is.
Mm.
Or like wellness shots, for example,
Yeah.
like
Oof.
the stronger burn that it has, the more effective that it's going to be. And I think that's a lot of just environmental patterning that's happened through years. Bleach doesn't smell good,
Yeah.
but it kills a lot of things,
Hmm.
right? Or I think of like cough syrup growing up, like Robitussin, of
Oh
like,
yeah.
man, you did not want to take that thing. It tasted disgusting, but you were like, but it's good because it's going to make me cough less, so it's worth the nastiness
Hmm.
going into it. But yeah, there's research looking at let's put a complete placebo in there, but have it be a strong odor, and then see how the person perceives like what the outcome is going to be
Hmm.
of that, and it a lot of times matches up with that. So yeah, it's interesting research. I think the marketing is way ahead of where the claims are at. Right now, people in like sleep research or sleep docs, they're not sold on it.
Hmm.
The marketing and wellness industry is very sold on it.
Yeah, shocker.
And so then there's somewhere in between where I would say most of the time this is not going to be covered by insurance. If
Hmm.
you have an HSA or FSA that might be able to pay it. If you're buying it off shelf, you're looking at, I would have to guess anywhere between 800 to above $1,000
Mm.
for it. Uh, I would say, hey, why don't we start with looking at, do you have a sleep routine set up? Do you have an unwinding procedure that you're using? Let's start there. We can use the same questionnaire to see how the quality or the perception of this is changing.
Hmm.
And if it improves it, well, then we don't need to take that next step because we're seeing that this isn't physiologically changing the patterns of sleeping or the brain waves during sleeping. We're seeing that the perception is changing.
Right.
So other things that are way less expensive can create the same result. It just, I think a lot of times we want that easy button,
Hmm.
and putting a thing on your head and turning it on and just sitting there is just kind of the easy button. But so is just kind of sitting there and unwinding.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say sitting there and unwinding is actually easier because
Yeah.
you don't need to put something on your head, but it's for some people more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For me, having something on my head would be uncomfortable, but
Hmm.
that's just me.
Yeah, and it's the cue, right?
Yeah.
The cue that tells you it's time to relax
Hmm.
and unwind. And then we'll see as studies get more are done more on it, and the control group is a bit better, the methodology improves, and then we'll see where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, if research changes and this becomes like a groundbreaking thing, you'll hear another podcast on it because we'll
Right.
come and tell you.
Yeah.
But as of now, right now at least, that's not the case.
Right. Especially like the benefit it could have with, athletes crossing time zones.
Hmm.
No one in the NFL has figured out how to play out of the country yet.
No,
No one has figured out get there a week early, keep the players up, have them sleep in, stay on the East Coast or West Coast time schedule. Like nobody's figured out crossing the time zone across the pond.
let's go to Australia now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like East Coast to West Coast within the States. Yeah. That's been kind of figured out for performance, but like crossing these significant time zones, yeah, no one's figured that out. So
Mm-hmm.
if this device ends up having that potential, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It can be used for that. It can be used for people in the military,
Mm-hmm.
like crossing time zones, sleep deprived, like cool. Maybe
Yeah.
it's something there. But as of right now, it's not showing that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Cool.
yeah.
Do you have a hope story for us this week?
Oh, all right. So January 1st, 2026 on FS1, NFL Films released a short documentary called No Stone Left Unturned, I think was the name of it.
Do you want me to look it up?
Look it up quick just to fact check that. The individual that this was focused on was an individual that we've talked about before, but never could talk about enough, which is Tim Green. The reason I'm trying to figure out the exact episode name is because he has a podcast called Nothing Left Unsaid. And I
Mm.
think that this was No Stone Left Unturned,
I think leaving no stone unturned.
leaving no stone unturned.
Hmm.
But it was a glimpse into him remaining purposeful, driven, while suffering with ALS, but him suffering joyfully and showing his family and his story behind it and just all the people that he's impacted, how he's raised money for the ALS, Tackle ALS Foundation, and just all that he's done. We just found out last night from the
Hmm.
time that we're recording this that that specific episode won an Emmy.
Yeah.
Like how one very well deserved
Mhm.
for the NFL film crew, but more importantly for Tim's message
Hmm.
and the Green family to be awarded that.
Yeah, we were really fortunate to have the opportunity to go to the house when they were filming and meet the lead on the project. I don't remember if he was considered the director or what his like technical name was, but remember his name was Ty. And I just remember asking, why are you doing this? And he just casually said, I forgot about Tim Green, and then I remembered his books, and I just thought, wonder where he's in life right now. And then he found out all that Tim has accomplished, all that he's done, and going from someone who read his books in his childhood to now getting to create this Emmy award winning documentary in short film. It's 12 minutes or so, 20 minutes, I forget. It's not even 30. So, but just how cool it is when almost like when you're open to the Holy Spirit and the Holy Spirit like plants these little seeds like, oh, forgot about that person. Wonder where they're at now. And then like this beautiful thing that came about
Yeah.
because of it. And what a gift it was for us to be at the house and visiting with the family and when they were filming and to meet the crew and all of that and really just to know the Greens as a whole.
Yeah.
They're the best.
Yeah. And you can catch that episode on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
And not to make more work for our post-production team, aka Brandy, but we will link it in the episode
Yeah, I can link
so
it in the
that you
show
can
notes.
go click and go watch that.
Mhm.
Just incredible.
Absolutely incredible. And I will just say there's a little segment probably for a few seconds where Dylan's there. So you might see a little Hope Not Nope logo at some point, which would be cool. Not that it's about us, but anytime I can brag about how awesome my husband is, I will. So,
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
But thank you for listening. Have a great week. And remember, high performance isn't just about using the strategy of hope, it's about becoming hope.
Thank you for listening to the Hope Not Nope podcast. Please subscribe and share this episode. This podcast is for educational and personal development purposes only and is not considered health or medical advice. For personalized support, connect with a Hope Coach at hopenotnope.org.